Graphing piecewise functions, I have here f of x with two conditions. F of x is equal to x plus 2 if x is less than 2, and f of x is equal to 4 minus x if x is greater than or equal to 2. Earlier we have if, but you can also write it this way, comma, and then the domain of x. Our conditions are x is less than 2, that's why I have here x negative 1, 0, 1, and then x greater than or equal to 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let us substitute one by one these values of x. Negative 1 falls on less than 2. So we're going to use this condition. So let's substitute negative 1. Negative 1 plus 2 is positive 1. Now let us plot that in our Cartesian plane. Negative 1, positive 1. It's in here. Next one is 0. 0 falls less than 2. So still we're going to use this condition. 0 plus 2 is equal to 2. 0 and then 2. Next one, we have 1. 1 is still less than 2. So we're going to use this. 1 plus 2. That would be 3. We have 1 for x and 3 for y. Next, we have here 2. The important value here is x equals 2. That's where the rule changes. For the first rule, we have x is less than 2. Notice that there is no equal sign. That means x equals 2 is not included. So we should use an open circle. So if I'm going to substitute 2 here, 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. So if x is 2, my y is 4. X is 2, y is 4. I will use open circle. Why? Because there is no equal to. Meaning, x equals 2 is not included. So why did I still include 2? This will serve as my boundary. Remember, I could also have 1.99. But at exactly 2, then it should be an open circle because there is no equal sign here. Now I will connect the points. And here is the graph of x plus 2 when x is less than 2. Let's continue. If x is equal to 2, there is equal to 2 here. So I'm going to use this condition. So substituting 2 here, 4 minus 2 is equal to 2. X is 2, y is 2. Since there is or equal, it means this is a closed circle. Next, let us substitute 3. 3 is greater than 2, so we're going to use this condition. Substituting 3, 4 minus 3 is equal to 1. So x is 3 and y is 1. It's here. Next value, we have 4. 4 is greater than 2, so we're going to use this. 4 minus 4 is equal to 0. So if x is 4, y is 0. You're not going to move on the y-axis. Next one, we have 5. 5 is greater than 2, so we have here 4 minus 5, and that is negative 1. 5, negative 1. Now let us connect our points. Here is the graph of 4 minus x when x is greater than or equal to 2. The equal sign here tells us that x equals 2 is included. That is why we use a closed circle. So whenever you're graphing a piecewise function, don't forget to look carefully at the inequality symbols. The inequality tells us whether the point is open or closed. At this point, I will teach you how to do this in GeoGebra. Let's key in our function. So we have f of x is equal, type in if, and then choose if condition, then else. So if the first condition is what? X is less than 2, comma, then what is our f of x? X plus 2, comma. Then our else is 4 minus x. Enter. So now here is our graph. In GeoGebra, you cannot see which one is open circle and closed circle. So you really have to pay attention with the conditions. So if x is less than 2, substituting 2 here, 2 plus 2 is 4. So at 2, 4, 2, 4, this should be open circle. Otherwise, here means x is greater than or equal to 2, the opposite of the first condition. Okay? I hope you get that one. Now we are going to compare this with the manual graph that we did earlier. Let's put here the graph that we did in GeoGebra and compare them. They are exactly the same. This time we're going to determine the domain and range of our graph. So for the domain, you just have to look at the x values. Look if all x values have a corresponding graph. For the negative x values, yes, we have a corresponding graph. And since this one will go indefinitely, it means all negative x values will have a corresponding graph. For positive x values, do we have graph? Yes, we do. At 2, although this one is open, meaning we do not have graph here, but here it is closed. So still we have a graph at x equals 2. And then, since this will go indefinitely going down, all positive x values will have corresponding graph. That means the domain of this function is the set of all real numbers, negative infinity to positive infinity. Now for the range, you just have to look at the y-axis. At y is equal to 4, we have here an open circle. It means there is no graph at exactly y is equal to 4. But below 4, there is now already graph going down since this will extend indefinitely going downwards. Since we express our domain and range starting at the lowest possible value going to the highest possible value, so this means our range here is from negative infinity, again this will extend indefinitely going down, up to 4. But 4 is not included. Negative infinity to 4. If it is an open circle not included, we make use of parentheses. This is in interval notation. We can also express domain in range in set builder notation. This one is the set of all x such that x is an element of real number. While in here is the set of all y such that y is less than 4. Let's make it a little more challenging. This time we have 3 conditions. The first one, for x is less than 0, I have here negative 2, negative 1. Next condition, x is less than 3 but greater than or equal to 0. I have 0, 1, 2. And then x is greater than or equal to 3. I have 3, 4, and 5. Let's substitute these values one by one. Let's start with negative 2. Negative 2 is less than 0. So it means we're going to use this condition. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4 plus 1, that will be equal to 5. Let's plot this one, negative 2 and then 5 here. Next one, negative 1. Negative 1 is less than 0, so it's still this condition. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2 plus 1 is 3. So negative 1, positive 3 here. Next one is 0, but it says here less than 0. I'm still going to use 0 in this condition just to serve as my boundary. So if this is 0, negative 2 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. So the point will be 0, 1. Again, there is no or equal, so I will use open circle. Now, let me connect the points. This is the graph of g of x is equal to negative 2x plus 1 if x is less than 0. Let's continue. This time we have 0. If x is equal to 0, we're going to use this condition. So 0 plus 1 is 1. 0, 1. It means at this point also, but this time we're going to use closed circle since there is or equal. Next one, we have 1. 1 is less than 3. So this condition still, 1 plus 1 is 2. If x is 1, our y is 2. Next one is 2, and 2 is less than 3. So this condition, 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. So if x is 2, our y is 3 in here. Next one is 3, but it says here less than 3. I'm going to plot it anyway. That will serve as my boundary. So I'll substitute 3 here. 3 plus 1 is 4. So if x is 3, g of x is 4. 3, 4. But I will use open circle because there is no or equal to. Now let me connect these points. I cannot extend any further because it says here if x is less than 3, so less than 3, but greater than or equal to 0, I'll end up at 0. So this is the graph of g of x is equal to x plus 1 if x is less than 3 but greater than or equal to 0. Next condition, we have x is greater than or equal to 3. So let's start with 3. If x is equal to 3, our y is equal to 5. So we have 3 and then 5 here. Why is it closed? Because there is or equal to. If x is 4, that is greater than 3, is still y is equal to 5. So if it is 4, y is 5. Next x is 5, that is still greater than 3. So if x is 5, our y is still 5. 5 for x and 5 for y. It says here greater than, so I can continue substituting values of x here. So it means this will go indefinitely to the right. Here is the graph of g of x is equal to 5 if x is greater than or equal to 3. Now let us do this in GeoGebra. Notice that we have three conditions. And for three or more conditions in GeoGebra, we're not going to use the same command we used earlier, the if condition, then, and otherwise. We're going to input each of our g of x. So let me start with the first one. I'm just going to use a of x equals negative 2x plus 1. Next condition, I'm going to use b of x is equal to x plus 1. Third condition, I'm going to use c of x and it is equal to 5. Now I'm going to combine these three. Pay attention on how am I going to do it. I'll use g of x equals if, I'll just continue with the parenthesis. The first condition, x is less than 0, comma. And we use x is less than 0 for our a of x. So I'll encode a here. Comma again. The next condition is x less than 3 but greater than or equal to 0. I'll just write it as is. 0, less than, followed by equal. It will transform to less than or equal. X, less than symbol again, and then 3, comma. And we use this condition for function b. So I'll type in b, comma again. Next condition, x is greater than, followed by equal. It will transform to greater than or equal. And then 3, comma. And we use this condition for our c of x. So I'll key in c. And then enter. Now I'm going to untick this. And here is now the graph of our g of x. We will compare this graph with the manual graphing that we did earlier. Now let us place here the graph that we did in GeoGebra and compare the two. They are exactly the same. Only in GeoGebra, you cannot see clearly which one is open circle and closed circle. So you really have to pay attention with the conditions. Now let us determine our domain and range. For the domain, you're going to focus your eyes on the x-axis. Negative x values, we have corresponding graph. Since this will extend indefinitely going up, it will cover all negative values of x. For positive x values, we also have corresponding graph. Although at x equals 3, this is open, but with the third condition, it was closed. So, since this will extend indefinitely to the right, so there will be graph on all positive x values. So, our domain is negative infinity to positive infinity. Now, for the range, let us focus our eyes on the y-axis. The graph is started at positive 1 and then going up. So it means our range is started at 1. Since this is a closed circle, we're going to use bracket. Going to positive infinity. Again, this is bracket because this is closed to positive infinity since this will extend indefinitely going up. Let us express this in set builder notation. So the domain would be the set of all x such that x is an element of real number. And for the range is the set of all y such that y is greater than or equal to 1. Greater than or equal to 1. Now, try this. We are going to do this in GeoGebra. Since we have more than two conditions, I'm going to do what we did earlier. I'm going to encode first each one of our P of x. So the first one, I'll use A of x equals negative 2. Next, B of x equals x plus 1. Next one, I'll use C of x equals x, press caret, and then 2, quadratic. Next one, d of x equals 6. Now I'm going to combine them all together. I'm going to use p of x. P of x equals if, just continue with an open parenthesis. The first condition is x less than negative 2. And we use this condition for a of x. So I'll type in a. And then comma. The second condition, I'll type it as is, negative 2 less than, followed by equal sign. It will convert into less than or equal. And then x, another less than, and then 1, comma. And we use this condition for b of x. I'll type in b, comma. Next condition, 1 less than, equal, x less than again, and then 3, comma. This condition is used for c of x. I'll type in c. And then comma. Last condition, x greater than, followed by equal sign. And then 3, comma. And we use this condition for d of x. I'll type in b. Okay, and then enter. Now I'm going to untick these 4. Here is now the graph of p of x. Let me just change the color. I'll choose orange. So now it's much clearer. Let's look closer to our graph. It ends here, but we cannot see it if that's the case. Let me adjust this one. Let's zoom out. That's it. So now it's much clearer, the endpoints. This is the graph of p of x. Let us place our graph here and determine the following. But first, let us determine the endpoints. Which of them are open circle and closed circle? Let's start with this one. Less than negative 2. So this is an open circle. Negative 2, negative 2. So at negative 2, negative 2, this should be an open circle. Next one, we have here or equal. So if it is negative 2, negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. So if x is equal to negative 2, y is negative 1. Negative 2, negative 1. So this endpoint is a closed circle. While this one is an open circle, if x is equal to 1, 1 plus 1 is 2. So at x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2, 1, 2, 1, and then 2. This one is open circle. Next one, if x is equal to 1. So if this is 1, 1 is squared is still 1. So if x is equal to 1, our y is 1. At 1, 1, 1, 1, it's a closed circle. If x is 3, it's an open circle. So if this is 3, 3 is squared is 9. So if x is 3, y is 9, this endpoint is open circle. But if x is equal to 3, our y is 6. So at 3, y is 6, this endpoint is a closed circle. So shortcut for closed circles, those are with or equal to. And open circles do not have or equal. Now we're ready to answer the following. Number 1, the number of pieces. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4. Next one, the break points. We had breaks at -2, at x is equal to 1, and at x is equal to 3. Next one, the open endpoints. We have here -2, -2, 1, 2, 3, 9. How about the closed endpoints? We have here -2, -1. We have here 1, 1. We have here 3, 6. Now, the domain of the function. Focus your eyes on the x-axis. On negative x values, do we have graphs? Yes, we do. This will extend indefinitely because it says here less than 2. So, it will extend indefinitely. Now, for positive x values, although this is open, but in here it is closed. Although this is open, in here it is closed. And this will extend indefinitely to the right because it says here greater than. So there will be graph on all positive x values, negative and positive. So the domain is the set of all real numbers. Now for the range, this is quite tricky. So starting at the negative infinity, going up, we started seeing graph at -2. The graph continues at +1. Going up, there's graph in each value of y-axis. Although this is open, we have a graph here. The graph stops at y equals 9, and this is open. So it means 9 is not included. So if we write it, -2, union at 1 until +9. But again, 9 is an open circle, so parenthesis. In here, -1 is closed circle, that's why we use bracket. And since this is only a single digit, we use braces. So there is discontinuity in our graph. There is a jump. From -2, it followed at -1 up to 9. Which pieces are linear? Let's look here. This is the linear, x plus 1. We only have 1 actually. Now, which piece is quadratic? Take a look at here. This one, x squared. And which pieces are constant? We have 2, -2 and 6. Now, at which breakpoints does function have a jump? There's a jump here at x equals -2. There's also a jump here at x equals 1. And there's also a jump here at x equals 3. Actually, in all of our breakpoints, there is a jump. Now let us do extra challenge. Maria is an employee in the Philippines. After accounting for allowable exclusions and deductions, her annual taxable income is 600,000 pesos. The BIR uses the following graduated income tax rates for individuals effective January 1, 2023 onward. I hope you still remember this from our past lesson, gross pay and net pay. We're going to answer the following questions. Number 1, write the income tax as a piecewise function. So this. Next, determine Maria's annual income tax. And third, determine how much remains from her taxable income after income tax. Let's start with the first one. Let me use T of X since we are talking about tax. Let X be here as our income. I'll start with the first one. P of x is equal to 0 if our x is 250,000 and below. Meaning, x is less than or equal to 250,000 but greater than 0 because there is no negative income. Next condition, P of x is equal to 15% of excess over 250,000. So that would be 0.15 times x minus 250,000. So over 250,000, we're going to get the 15% of that. The income is between 250,000 and 400,000. So x is less than or equal to 400,000 but greater than 250,000 because there is the word over here. And also, we already have the equal sign here at 250. So this must not be or equal to. Next condition, P of x is equal to 22,500 plus 20% of excess over 400,000. So 22,500 plus 0.20 of quantity x minus 400,000. So this is the excess multiplied by 20% and the constant if the income is over 400,000 up to 800,000. So x is less than or equal to 800,000 but greater than 400,000. It says here over, so greater than. And also, we have the or equal to here for the 400,000. Next condition, P of x is equal to 102,500 plus 25% of excess over 800,000. So this will be 102,500 plus 0.25 of quantity x minus 800,000. If the income is over 800,000 to 2 million pesos. So less than or equal to 2 million but greater than 800,000, over 800,000. Next condition, P of x is equal to 402,500 plus 30% of excess over 2 million pesos. So 402,500 plus 0.30 quantity x minus 2 million. If over 2 million up to 8 million, less than or equal to 8 million but greater than 2 million. And last one, P of x is equal to 2,202,500 plus 35% of excess over 8 million. So 2,202,500 plus 0.35 times the quantity x minus 8 million. So the excess of 8 million is multiplied by 0.35 plus the constant 2,202,500. If the annual taxable income is over 8 million, X is greater than 8 million. And we're done. Notice how each row of the table becomes one piece of our function. That's the important connection. A tax table and a piecewise function are really expressing the same idea into two different formats. Let's continue. Let's answer number 2. Determine Maria's annual income tax. Remember, it is stated in the problem that after the exclusions and deductions, Maria's annual taxable income is 600,000 pesos. So we're going to determine where in our piecewise function this one falls. And it falls here. So we're going to use this condition. We're going to substitute 600,000 for our excess here. 600,000 minus 400,000 is 200,000. We're going to multiply it by 20%, 0.2, and that is 40,000. And add it to 22,500. 62,500. So Maria's annual income tax due is 62,500 pesos. Now let us answer number 3. Determine how much remains from her taxable income after income tax. Let's recall her taxable income is 600,000 pesos and her tax due is 62,500. So the income after income tax would be 600,000 minus 62,500. And that is 537,500. 537,500 remains after the annual income tax. For the summary, here are the things that we learned from this lesson and also how to graph piecewise function in GeoGebra. Now it is time to check your understanding. Pause this video for more time. Let us answer. A department store is having a special sale where the discount depends on the original total amount of a customer's purchase. So for amount of purchase less than 3,000, there is no discount. For 3,000 to 5,999, there will be 10% discount. For 6,000 to 9,999, 15% discount. And for 10,000 or more, 20% discount. During the sale, Lisa has a budget of 8,000 pesos. She wants to purchase the greatest possible value of items before the discount without exceeding her budget after the applicable discount. We will assume that Lisa is going to consume the whole 8,000 pesos. So first, let us create our piecewise function with this table. I'm going to use P of x. P of x is also equal to x because there is no discount. If less than 3,000 pesos. Less than 3,000 pesos but greater than or equal to 0 because there is no item less than 0. Next one. P of x has a 10% discount. So it means you're just going to pay 90% of it. So 0.90 of x if 3,000 to 5,999. I can rewrite this as less than 6,000. 5,999 is less than 6,000. Round off to the nearest peso, of course, but greater than or equal to 3,000. Next one is 15% discount, meaning to say you're just going to pay 85% of the actual amount. So that would be 0.85 of x. If the amount purchased is 6,000 up to 9,999. So less than 10,000 but greater than or equal to 6,000. Last one, 20% discount, meaning you're just going to pay 80% of the actual price. So 0.80x if 10,000 or more is the amount purchased. X is greater than or equal to 10,000. Let's recall the problem. During the sale, Lisa has a budget of 8,000 pesos. She wants to purchase the greatest possible value of items before the discount without exceeding her budget after the applicable discount. Initially, since Lisa has a budget of 8,000, you would probably use this condition, 0.85x. So let's use that. 0.85x is equal to 8,000. Let us solve for x. We're going to divide both sides by 0.85. So these two will cancel out. So x is equal to 9,411.76. The key here is that the discount changes depending on the purchase amount. If the customer reaches the 10,000 bracket, the discount becomes 20%. So let's test 10,000 pesos. So 0.80 times 10,000, that will be 8,000 pesos. exactly her budget. Therefore, the maximum original purchase is 10,000 pesos. Lisa can purchase 10,000 worth of items before the discount. This is a very important lesson about piecewise functions. We have to consider the conditions before solving. Gets? If you find this lesson helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and leave a comment, share to reach more learners, and subscribe to support the channel. For you to truly master this lesson, here is an extra problem for you to work on. I'll reveal the answer in my next video. Keep practicing, keep learning, and as always, you've got this with Mom Cube. Our next lesson is data and its levels of measurement.